Now at 5, a second attack in less than 24 hours. A swimmer bitten by a sea lion in the bay. Now he'll be treated for possible rabies exposure. Good evening, I'm Elizabeth Cook.
I'm Ken Bassita. The doctors aren't taking any chances, and neither are park officials. They're telling swimmers to stay out of the water. And Aquatic Park officially closed while they address the safety concerns there.
That's where KPIX 5 reporter Da Lin is live with what witnesses say happened in the water. Da?
That's right. Authorities and swimmers suspect it's the same sea lion that has so far attacked 2 swimmers. Hence the sign. They want to keep folks out of the water. They'll shut down Aquatic Park from swimming until Monday. This is cell phone footage showing people helping the victim out of an SUV and into an ambulance this morning. The attack happened around 8 o'clock when he was swimming alone near the Aquatic Park harbor entrance.
I sat back, had some coffee, and heard, and looked over to see a guy just right inside the entrance to the marine harbor.
Witnesses say nearby swimmers came to his rescue and swam with him back to shore. The victim says a sea lion came from underneath him and bit him in the groin area.
He came in shocked. He had a look in his face where we just wanted to get to a hospital, so we called 911.
Family and friends identify the victim as Rick Melville. They say he'll have to stay at SF General for at least one more day.
They're waiting to take him up to surgery where they're going to clean out the 3 puncture wounds that are on his thigh.
It's the second time in 2 days a sea lion attacked a swimmer. A man in his 50s was bitten on the arm yesterday. Both swimmers will survive, but the question, why?
It was surprising to us because it's such an infrequent event.
Experts are puzzled. Maybe a young sea lion being territorial? There are also talks of it being a sick sea lion. The National Park Service is shutting the area down from swimming, hoping the sea lion will just go away.
It's hard to say that we're able to prevent it. The thing about the cove here is that a lot of people tend to think about this is their backyard, they live in the city, but really this is an entry into the wilderness.
Friends say the doctor will likely give the victim rabies shots after his surgery. That's because they don't know if that sea lion is sick or not. And it's very tough for experts because they say this is so uncommon. They don't know how to investigate this. They don't know how to catch the sea lion for one, and to try to identify and also get the 2 victims to make sure it's the same one. So it's a very difficult case for them. That's why they're hoping the sea lion will just go away. And hence he says, how do you prevent something like this? Liz?
Lions in the area, Da. And the warnings are there, as you see that sign behind you, but it looks like people are still taking their chances in the water.
There's the sign, obviously, for warning, but there's no one here to stop folks from entering into the water. We have seen a handful of people going in to go for a swim, and coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll tell you why. We asked them, why are you still going in there after the attacks?
Yeah, enter at your own risk. All right, Da, thank you.
We'll go outside. It's obvious the air is bad all over the Bay Area today. This was the hazy view over downtown San Francisco just a little earlier. And looking east, you can see anything, can't really see anything on the other side of the bay. Same story in San Jose. This was the view from Mineta. It's a spare the air day, in fact, the 8th in a row. Now, the wind is expected to kick up in the next few hours, which is good news for our overall air quality, but very bad news for fire danger. KPIX 5's Emily Turner reports live. Emily?
Yeah, to have a red flag warning day this late in the year is pretty rare, but it's also very dangerous when it comes to fire, because think about what's popular right now going into the holidays. Christmas lights, candles, fires, fire pits, all things that could light up your holiday season, but also unfortunately cause a fire. So fire departments across the Bay Area are not taking any chances. These scenes are a not-so-subtle reminder of what can happen on a red flag warning day. So, as we head into a weekend worth of them, fire departments aren't taking any chances, especially Santa Rosa, who's already been burned once.
Although the red flag warning is specifically up in the higher elevations, we're still concerned. Given what we experienced, we definitely don't want to let our guard down.
So Santa Rosa Fire, along with departments across the North Bay, are back in summer mode, meaning wildland fire gear is back in the trucks and crews are on standby rather than training to make sure all units can respond in case of a fire. Further south, Nevada is doing their own form of fire control in education, asking folks to hold off on fires, even in the fireplace or fire pit.
And that's one of our biggest worries, is knowing that those sparks can get out and released into the air and caught by those heavy winds that are traveling and then land someplace else in the leaves of your eaves, like we've seen last week in our own town here.
There is already a burn ban in place for all outdoor fires in Marin County, so eliminating the human element will hopefully make a huge difference. It's been almost a month since the North Bay has seen more than an inch of rain, and it could go up like a tinderbox if everyone isn't careful.
We didn't get the volume of rain or the amount of rain that we really needed. So our concern right now is, although people are seeing the green grasses starting to regrow following those first couple rains, our heavier fuels up in the higher elevations definitely didn't get the amount of rainfall that they needed, and they're still dry.
Just to give you an idea of how dry we are right now, about this time last year, we had almost twice as much rain on average in the Bay Area than we've had this year. So significantly drier going into these winter months. And of course, PG&E is also on guard going into this red flag warning weekend. They say they have crews on standby in the red flag warning areas, and they also are prepared to cut power to lines that may potentially be in jeopardy of causing a fire. Reporting live from Mount Tam, Emily Turner, KPIX 5.
Yeah, and boy, talking about last year, it's either feast, famine, or flood, isn't it? I mean, sure, last year was different, but my God, what a year it was. This year we're off to a more average start. But I will tell you, as Emily pointed out, what is not usual are the red flag warnings posted just in time for Santa Claus. I mean, red flag warnings posted right through Sunday morning for all the Bay Area hills. Winds could gust to 50 miles an hour plus, and that's where the fire official was talking about the fire danger being especially high. The higher elevations, and that's just where it's going to be blowing for the next couple of days. Futurecast wind gusts. The brighter colors that you see, that's where the stronger winds will be. Tomorrow morning, they peak on Saturday morning. And then in general, and these are at the lower elevations, they begin to ease up so that by Sunday morning, they go down to about what they would ordinarily be on any given day. But tomorrow will not be any given day. Tomorrow it'll be windy. So prepare now. Ken.
All right, Brian, thank you for that. It was a little windy in the Oakland Hills earlier, in fact, and very hazy, as we mentioned. The winds are going to pick up tonight. Because of the high fire danger, the city of Berkeley is asking people who live in the hills to park in their driveways or their garages and leave the streets clear for emergency vehicles.
The winds are also expected to pick up in Southern California this weekend, which could make the difficult firefight even harder. The Thomas Fire is now the 4th largest fire in state history. It's burned more than 250,000 acres in Ventura and Santa Barbara counties. And Randy Page shows us it continued to flare up again today.
It's day 12 on the Thomas Fire.
Sounded like a roar.
And this morning, flames continued to threaten homes on the fire's northeastern flank near Fillmore.
And hear the crackle and the pop, and there was just, all these loud sounds, bangs and booms, like it was right behind our house.
Bill Edwards and his family stayed up all night looking out the window of their home as the wind howled and the flames grew closer.
It's been absolutely incredible. The flames shooting up so high that, we're standing in the backyard and just seeing them shoot up 30, 40 feet and watching it burn seeming so close that you could almost reach out and touch them. It was incredible.
Fire Command says wind gusts more than 30 miles an hour whipped up the fire and drove it right up to the backs of homes. Linda Riley says she's been resting with her eyes open on her back porch.
My husband, who's been watching it, he says that some of the avocados trees are up in flames.
This huge fire has already burned about 400 square miles, close to the size of the city of Los Angeles. And as of this morning, it was only 35% contained.
As you can see, we're ready. We're packed up, with everything that we can get. Just throw the dogs in and go. I'm not going to unpack. Not till tomorrow.
That was Randy Page reporting. The Thomas Fire has destroyed more than 700 homes. Multiple communities are still under mandatory evacuation orders.
Meanwhile, in San Francisco today, very somber. Thousands of people have been paying their respects to Mayor Ed Lee, who died suddenly 3 days ago. His casket arrived at City Hall early this morning, draped in an American flag. City workers and San Francisco firefighters were there to meet him one final time. Here's a live look inside the rotunda at San Francisco City Hall, where the mayor is lying in state. The public can visit until 7 tonight, and people have been lined up all day long. As KPIX 5 reporter Susie Steimel shows us. Susie?
Well, Ken, the amount of people who feel personally impacted by this loss is just incredible. Take a look at this line here in front of City Hall to get inside. It's been like that since sunrise this morning. Thousands of people have come here. Many of them brought tributes to the mayor. They lined up with flowers, candles, and pictures of the mayor. As you said, this was the public's chance to say goodbye, and for many of them, that proved difficult to do. If a person's impact can be measured in how many people show up to say goodbye, the wraparound line at San Francisco City Hall speaks for itself. If that impact should be measured in emotion, the Chinese community offers its heartbreak.
It's really hard to accept this truth.
And if it's with words, take these ones from Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi.
He never had an unkind word to say about anyone. And nobody had an unkind word to say about him. Highly unusual for someone high up in politics that way. But anyway.
Mayor Ed Lee returned to City Hall for the final time this morning, carried in by an honor guard made up of men who were on his security detail. His body lay in state all day Friday in City Hall's rotunda. Politicians, friends, and his City Hall family came to pay their respects.
Seeing all these people who lead the city overcome with emotion is really intense because I look to them as my leaders and my mentors, and it's really humbling, and it really shows the humanity in all of us, and I just think people should remember that and carry on his legacy.
It's a somber scene, watching city leaders say goodbye to one of their own. Those close to him say you may have disagreed with his politics, but that his humanity went unquestioned.
He was very down to earth and always made jokes, and I know they were his own because of how much he waited for your laughter after.
He was a very decent man. I mean, he really wanted to help his city.
And you know, I think he'll be remembered as a good man with a good heart.
Here's a live look again for you inside the rotunda where people are saying their respects to Mayor Lee. They're able to walk up, take a few moments to themselves, say a prayer. Many people have taken the Chinese tradition of bowing 3 times in respect to the mayor to say their goodbyes. It's been a very tearful, emotional day for a lot of people inside City Hall. If we take you back out here live, you'll see these pictures of Mayor Lee. Many of them show him smiling, laughing, and wearing any number of San Francisco sports memorabilia. Many people talked about his affinity for the teams here. There will be a celebration of Mayor Lee's life here at City Hall. That's at 3 p.m. on Sunday, and the public is welcome to come to that as well. We will also cover it here on Channel 5. We're live at San Francisco City Hall. Susie Steimel, KPIX 5.
He will be missed for sure, and thousands are expected to gather for that public memorial. Again, it is set for Sunday. The celebration of life will start at 3 p.m. at San Francisco City Hall. And as Susie mentioned, we will be streaming it live on CBSSF.com and also on our KPIX 5 Facebook page.
The final GOP tax plan is out, coming up what some Republicans demanded in exchange for their vote.
Plus, the sophisticated card skimmer that almost slipped by undetected. A search for the suspect behind this sneaky device in the East Bay.
And the TSA puts new screening technology to the test ahead of what's expected to be a record travel season.
New at 5, a dramatic rescue. A man somehow fell onto the subway tracks in Brooklyn. He was unconscious right as the train was coming into the station. Luckily, a woman started screaming and waving as she was filming. She was able to get the engineer to stop the train in time. She and some other Good Samaritans lifted the unconscious man onto the platform and got him out of the way.
In Washington, President Trump may just get his Christmas wish for a tax reform bill that he can sign into law before the holidays. Republicans in the House and Senate have reached a final deal. Reporter Weijia Jiang shows us what's in it.
Congress has released its final language for a tax reform bill that has been decades in the making.
It took a lot of hard work by a lot of people to make this day happen.
Texas Republican Kevin Brady is the chairman of the House committee responsible for writing tax bills.
Our lawmakers listen to their constituents, families and businesses, and this tax reform reflects the priorities of the American people.
It took a last-minute deal with Senators Marco Rubio and Mike Lee, increasing the size of the refundable child tax credit to make sure the Republicans had enough votes to pass the bill.
It's amazing what they can do when they want to do it.
Tennessee Senator Bob Corker surprised everyone when he announced he too will vote yes. Corker voted against the Senate version of the bill because he was worried about adding to the deficit.
In a statement, Corker said he now believes the bill could have significant positive impact on the well-being of Americans and help drive additional foreign direct investment in Tennessee. Even Senators John McCain, who has been in the hospital, and Mississippi's Thad Cochran, who is also ill, are planning to vote yes on the bill.
I think John McCain will be here.
What about Senator Cochran?
I think he will be here also. I'm told he will be here next week.
Lawmakers will have the weekend to read the bill before voting on the plan next week. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Here's a look at some of the bill's other key provisions. It slashes the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%. For individuals, the top rate drops from nearly 40% to 37%. And it kicks in at a higher income threshold. People can deduct a total of just $10,000 for state and local taxes and property taxes. Coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, KPIX 5 political reporter Melissa Kane shows us how lawmakers in Sacramento are crafting an end run around key parts of the Republican tax plan to save you money.
Well, a suspect in Hayward took credit card skimming to a whole new level. Check this out. Police say not only did he install a skimming device on an ATM keypad, he also set up an entire fake side panel. You can see the circuits linked up to a camera. That is so he could get people's PIN numbers as well. This happened inside the Chevron station at Hesperian Boulevard and Applegate Way in Hayward. The police want you to call them if you recognize that man. Meanwhile, Santa Clara police just seized an arsenal of weapons suspected of being on the black market. Earlier this week, investigators found several assault and sniper rifles, thousands of rounds of ammunition, drug paraphernalia, and other weapons at a commercial building on Grant Street. Soon after, they arrested Jonathan Gilleen and Patricia DeGrande. Police say that they were able to get a search warrant after getting word that Gilleen was selling the weapons.
Pretty scary in this day and age, specifically the 3 assault rifles that were in his possession and the suppressor, which, as most people know, muzzles the sound of the actual firearm, really makes it a scary item to be out there.
Police say that at the time of the arrest, both suspects appeared to be under the influence of drugs and had loaded weapons nearby.
New high-tech TSA security screening equipment was tested today in Los Angeles, just ahead of the huge holiday travel rush. Reporter Chris Van Cleve on what it's designed to find.
The video of Monday's pipe bomb attack in New York City makes clear the danger as it goes off in a crowded tunnel. It's the kind of suicide bomber-style attack this system is designed to try to stop, using cameras to scan people entering a transit system for dense items concealed under their clothing, like an explosive vest.
And we're really looking for those alarm indicators. And so as that bar turns from green to red, we know we've identified an individual that may need a little closer scrutiny.
Alex Wiggins is the head of security for LA's Transit Authority.
If we can encounter that person as they enter the station in the mezzanine, we can very, very quickly isolate them and move to the area where if there is a threat, that we can actually contain that much better.
The technology is currently being tested at Los Angeles' busy 7th Street Metro Center station, where 4 of the region's commuter lines connect. More than 86,000 passengers move through here each weekday. The scanners are designed to operate in the background, passively scanning people walking by in real time without using radiation.
There's no silver bullet, no technical silver bullet to prevent all acts of terrorism, but clearly as part of a layered defense, it can play a role in at least making it harder for the bad guys.
TSA is hopeful new technology will lead to better detection, be it at a train station or an airport. This scanner is currently being tested at a TSA facility outside Washington, D.C. The goal is eventually to be able to scan people as they pass by.
So what you want is a scanner where people can just keep walking. Can just keep walking, and they don't even really notice that they're being screened while they're doing it.
The TSA says the testing is still in its relatively early stages. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Washington.
And a very different type of airport screener is marking a milestone. This is Skipper. He's an agriculture detector canine at SFO. This dog sniffs out contraband food in incoming travelers' luggage. The Beagle recently made his 20,000th seizure. He found a banana in a passenger's carry-on.
Well, of course he did. He has a little nose there for, what is it, isoamyl acetate. But that's chemistry. We're going to be talking meteorology and the fact that the winds are picking up at this hour, and the result, red flag warnings, wind advisories, and maybe rain ahead. We'll have all the details when we cover the weather as we look toward that pretty Bay Bridge. It's all coming up after a break. Well, hello, hi, and welcome back on this fine Friday evening where we had hazy conditions for the first time in a while, but also for the first time in a while, we'll get a break from the Spare the Air Day on Saturday as those brisk winds are just going to clean us right out as we look toward the 7th busiest airport in the U.S., SFO. And the numbers right now, readings are mostly in the 50s. Concord's got 57 degrees. There is haze out there tonight. Could be a little bit of fog forming before tomorrow, and we have actually fired up the KPIX 5 high-def Doppler, because there's a very weak cold front on its way down, but most of that's evaporating before it hits the ground. None of it will reach here, but maybe midweek something will be happening. Talk about that first. This numbers overnight from 39 degrees at Santa Rosa to 43 in San Jose and Fairfield. Vallejo bottoms out at 46 degrees, and the sun up tomorrow morning at 7:18. This dry cold front is coming through. It won't have any effect in terms of precip, but it will in terms of the winds as that low battles with the high that has been elbowed aside off of Vandenberg Air Force Base. Will kick up first easterly winds. Finally, by the latter half of the weekend, they shift to northerly. But in the meantime, partly cloudy conditions tonight. The winds begin to pick up. Higher elevations tomorrow really do get breezy. Gusts up to 50 miles an hour plus at the highest elevations. But it'll be a dry weekend, windy tomorrow morning especially, and then lighter winds coming in on Sunday. But wind advisories are posted, and that red flag warning as well that we mentioned a few minutes ago. High temperatures for tomorrow, they almost all come within a few degrees of 64, and that's a little bit above average, despite the fact that it seemed chilly today. Well, that's mid-December, and this mid-60s is warm compared to historical averages. So Hayward hit 61 degrees, Sunnyvale at 63, and Campbell at 65. Over in the East Bay, the numbers will be in the mid-60s as well, with 64 degrees at Pittsburgh, 64 at Fairfield. Up in the North Bay, we'll have hazy conditions tonight, windy tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon. It'll get as warm as 67 in Santa Rosa. Winds will be a factor too at Ukiah, Cloverdale, and Windsor with the numbers in the mid-60s, low to mid-60s. That holds true all the way through Wednesday. For the most part, winds ease up on Sunday. Wednesday, we clouded up. And, you know, we might get a drop or two on Wednesday. We shall see. But in the meantime, for the first time all week and going into the weekend, we'll spare the air day. And we'll also cool temperatures down a little bit, so a break from the poor air quality. As soon as we take another kind of break, the newscast will continue. See you in a minute.
We are getting into the holiday spirit. Skydrone 5 giving us a look at the Sidewalk Light Show in San Jose. It's called the Sonic Runway, a holiday art installation just outside City Hall along Santa Clara Street.
Very cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we want to see your holiday spirit as well. You can share your photos, your videos with us on our KPIX Facebook page.
Pretty beautiful. Well, thank you for watching tonight at 5.
Ahead at 6, how a shortage of expensive multi-million-dollar homes is making the competition for a Bay Area home tougher for everyone. Alan and Veronica back with that in 30 minutes.